In Lesson 1, you'll learn the fundamentals. This is the most important aspect of learning to draw. There's no margin for error when it comes to learning these, so before we do any drawing, I want to make sure every student has a good foundation of shading techniques and has a chance to get acquainted with the materials we'll be working with. You'll learn the lead weights by name and see how each one feels to draw with while I explain what it's best used for. Next, you'll practice using each lead by shading a 10-value grayscale using a downloadable worksheet I'll supply you. Then you'll put what you just learned to work and do a downloadable shading exercise using your 10-value grayscale. While doing the shading exercise, you'll learn all the different shading techniques associated with pencil drawing, including cross-hatching, scumbling, linear shading, and using a shading tool. I'll teach you exactly how to hold your pencil to correctly execute each technique. You would be surprised how many students have simply been holding their pencils wrong their whole lives, who can suddenly shade beautifully with a minor positioning correction. And I'll teach you the correct motion to get hatching lines that make your drawings look dynamic. Finally, you'll learn how to build shading and what order the lead weights should be applied in to render a subject correctly. In Lesson 2, using your new understanding of pencil leads and the shading techniques you just practiced, you'll draw and shade a cue ball to photorealistic perfection, using a high-res downloadable photo reference I'll supply you. With my guidance, you'll begin to learn simple line drawing techniques that I'll continue to expand on throughout the course, as well as how to manage line weight. Using animations, I'll help you learn a new way to see images and objects by breaking them down into simple, manageable shapes that you can apply to any subject. You'll also learn how to build your shading and get the most out of your dark values. By Lesson 3, you will have built up enough skill and confidence to start drawing hands. You'll work from a high-res, professionally photographed, downloadable photo reference which I'll supply you. I'll teach you a quick, easy technique to getting ratios and measurements without having to do any tedious measuring. I'll show you how to silhouette a subject, and you'll begin learning how to use your mistakes to your advantage. I'll also teach you how to find and draw major interior lines and simplify a subject into basic shapes. You'll learn how to manage line weight with a more complex subject, as well as an approach to preliminary shading. And you'll learn how to easily add incredible detail into your drawings. I'll show you how to easily make perimeter lines around any object you want to draw. And by the end of this lesson, you will have learned a step-by-step approach to completing a drawing that you can apply to all your future projects. I'll even give you a handy checklist to follow. In Lesson 4, you'll draw another hand using a photo reference I supply you. In this lesson, I'll reinforce everything you learned in Lesson 3 and expand on it, making sure every student grasps each technique. I'll explain how the lighting on a subject can be used to break it up into smaller, more manageable parts. You'll also learn more techniques and how to spot a mistake early and how to use it to your advantage. Lesson 5 is an added bonus lesson on drawing hands. You'll try a completely different approach to drawing to see what resonates with your learning type. Not everybody is going to be good at every style of drawing, so in this course, I'm going to cover a few different techniques to find which approach resonates with you specifically. You'll learn how to identify planes based on the light source and create simple shapes with them to build your drawing. I'll reinforce all of the shading and line art techniques you learned in the previous lessons, and we'll take a looser approach to shading to teach you how to get more energetic, dynamic drawings and keep them from looking stagnant. Lesson 6 is divided into 3 parts. Working from high-res downloadable photo references I'll supply you, you'll be drawing 3 sets of eyes and learning how to manage their different expressions. As the lessons progress, they'll focus more on seeing and applying detail, and you'll learn a surefire approach to drawing beautiful eyes every time. I'll walk you through a step-by-step approach to creating an access line and how to use it to your advantage throughout a drawing. You'll begin learning how to use interior lines to create expressions, and how to simplify shapes to help your mind manage complex images. You'll learn about how to get different textures using highlights. You'll learn about the golden ratio, the Fibonacci sequence, and how it can help you create beautiful curves and shapes in your drawings. And by the end of Lesson 6, you will have drawn and rendered 3 sets of eyes beautifully. In Lesson 7, you'll finally take all the techniques you've learned and put them to the test by drawing a portrait based on this high-res photo reference I'll supply you. You'll learn how to light and even photograph a subject for a drawing or painting, and how to create perfect portrait lighting based on Rembrandt's portrait lighting techniques. You'll learn how to use multiple access lines to get perfect proportions in your drawings, more techniques to noticing mistakes early, as well as new strategies to use them to your advantage. I'll show you a quick, easy trick to making sure you get perfect values in shading every time, and I'll teach you an easy system for drawing hair. We'll cover more visualization and simplification techniques specific to portrait drawing. You'll learn how to create and force perspective, as well as techniques to draw a viewer's attention to desired focal points in your images. And you'll learn age-old visual techniques using sacred geometry that have been used by masters throughout history to create perfect symmetry and continuity in your line art. The course consists of over 8 hours of clear, professionally filmed and edited content, and I'm available throughout the day and evening for support and to answer any of your questions, as well as give feedback and critiques upon your request.